I will not hesitate to mention the Honorable Hannah Bisu, who now knows that she comes from Dafiama. When you hear of slave trade, you know that it is our own people.
Wow.
People from the northern descent, and at least some Volta area. So you realize that slaves actually, the slaves actually do not come from the south.
The coast.
The coast. They do not even come from the middle belt.
Wow.
So if you trace the roots, you will see that the slave markets were in the north.
Oh, okay.
Even people who were taken from north and they go to the south, and by way of maybe marriage or some stronger people taking them to do work for them, they were also slaves in their own country. And I mentioned particular names to you the other day.
Yes.
When our own people went down there, and anytime there was any fight, you could not stand a northerner. And they felt that we're using medicine.
Oh, okay.
It's never medicine. It was what we ate that gave us the strength. The northerners have always been strong. And it is not just medicine. Medicine is everywhere. We could get medicine from down there.
Okay, so welcome to another exciting episode. I have a father, I would just say my father with me, who is so very much passionate about the culture of the North, the traditions, and who we are as a people. So I would like to engage him for him to tell us a lot that we don't know about ourselves. My name is Prince Amdan. Sir, please introduce yourself and then let's talk about.
Yeah, my name is Pamphilio Kumbesin.
Okay.
I'm the regional director for Center for National Culture, Upper East region.
Okay.
I came home to check on one or two things. Okay. And we happen to have met.
Yes.
At my old office.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
The issue is who we are, and especially on slavery. Very often we hear of slave trade, and when we hear of heritage or homecoming for those who have not been fortunate enough to have been captured and taken abroad to work, very often when they come home, their destination is at the coast. And that has a sort of feeling on some of us because, one, these slaves do not come from there. It was only a point of exit to the Caribbeans.
You mean that during the period they were taken into captivity?
Into captivity. They were only housed pending their being transported to the Americas. Yes. And so when you hear of slave trade, you know that it is our own people.
Wow.
People from the northern descent, and at least some Volta area. So you realize that slaves actually, the slaves actually do not come from the south.
The coast.
The coast. They do not even come from the middle belt.
Wow.
They come from the north and Burkina, Mali, and beyond, La Côte d'Ivoire.
Wow.
So if you trace the roots, you will see that the slave markets were in the north.
Oh, okay.
And it was the north that they were captured and being bought and sent down to the coast, where they were housed at the castles and finally being transported. So when we talk about homecoming, and when people talk about our own people coming back home, then they feel that, oh, they come from the coast.
And they will just...
And they will come and then house them there in Cape Coast, Accra, and along the coast, and then they get back. That is very wrong. It is very wrong. These are our own brothers from the north. All the parts of the north, slaves were captured. If you want, come to think of it, where in Ghana or where in the south or at the coast do they have slave markets? Even not in the north. The slaves were from the north. Salaga market. If you go to the Bolga area, Upper East region, they have markets. Upper West, they have markets. And if you look at how we fought against slavery, we have the myths, we have the stories all around. And our own Sankana here, people fought against because they have the caves where they hit the vulnerable, and then the strong men came out and faced the slave raiders.
That you're talking about the Sankana,
slave caves. And if you get to the Sankana slave cave, after the caves, you have hills, top hills. Those were places where the warriors stood and watched far away from where the slave raiders were coming. And then they mobilized their attacks.
Wow.
And you realize that when you go to Golu, they have the slave defense wall, very thick. You will marvel how those walls were built. And they were built by human hands. And these were places where the warriors would push the vulnerable behind and then hit so that the ammunitions or the weapons that they were firing at them could not reach them. And then they were also firing at them with our bows and arrows and our spears and all those things.
Wow.
So you realize that these people who were finally captured, and most of these people were captured by our own people who helped Samore and Babatu and other people to capture them. Then they sold them to them, and then they finally transported them down
to the coast.
So you realize that these are our own brothers. Brothers from the northern descent, brothers from across the coast, the boundaries of Ghana, Burkina, Mali, and others. So we realize that these were very strong people. The slave raiders were not interested in weak people because they could not get market for them.
And if you look at the structure of the Northerners,
huge, well built,
strong,
well built. Partly because of the kind of food we ate.
Yeah.
Partly because of the leaves that we ate. You know, leaves are very medicinal. Down there, people don't know much about leaves. Look at our own moringa here. It's of late that people are talking about moringa being medicinal. We have eaten it as food. And that kept us strong.
Wow.
And these were evident when our own people went down there. And anytime there was any fight, you could not stand a northerner. You give it to you at once. You fall flat. And they felt that we're using medicine.
Oh, okay.
It's never medicine. It was what we ate that gave us the strength. What we ate that gave us the kind of valor that we actually had. So you realize that the Northerners have always been strong. And it is not just medicine. Medicine is everywhere. We could get medicine from down there. Even if a Northerner gets to the down there, you get leaves that are very potent. And he ate those leaves, the Southerner will not eat that. He will eat it and become stronger than him.
Yes.
The Southerner.
And with regards to this, tradition of eating leaves and that makes us strong enough, do you think we've thrown away a lot of these cultures today?
We have thrown away a considerable part of our culture. Partly because of westernization and modernization. But we still have some. And that is what we cherish in the north here, by trying to get back, as the Southerner will say, Sankofa. We are also trying to bring back all the good traditions that existed. And because of modernization, our own people are not interested. Come to us. Why is it that today the children of today do not want to patronize our things, our local meals, made in Ghana, clothing? And today, I think it is gratifying to note that these days, the youth are becoming increasingly aware that, we have thrown away our culture. Just last year, let me cut it a bit. Last year here in the Upper West region, some of us realized that most of our traditions, most of our aspects of culture are getting extinct. And we became very worried. So, Radio Progress, Center for National Culture, we met first. And George realized that we were actually getting lost. So we felt that, no, something had to be done.
Wow.
So we decided to kind of institute cultural week celebration. And so we realized that we could not do this without the chiefs, because they are the custodians of culture. So we ran to the House of Chiefs. We ran and met the president of the Regional House of Chiefs, the current Dafemana, who embraced the idea so well and actually gave us audience, allowed us to meet the caucus of the house. We spoke to them and they were, wow, the people, it is our own lost child that these people have found. And this was how they coined it. It was their lost child that we found, and we have brought it to them. It is their duty now to nurture the child. So nice. So we decided to contact well-meaning sons and daughters of the region to see how we could revive. The aim actually is just to bring back the aspects of culture that are getting extinct. Our own people, you go and show a child something,
they won't know.
He doesn't know a bow and arrow today. Why? But those were the key weapons those
But now
days.
they know every gun.
Now they know every gun by name. How it is operated, they know. But they cannot shoot a bow and arrow. Food, even the traditional foods. Our own girls, most of the young girls who are of marriage age cannot prepare some traditional foods. Come to us. When those days we had farmhands, we used to use these earthenware pots. Those days we didn't have iron pots. Earthenware,
Yes.
big one.
The ceramic.
Yes. Ceramic is rather stronger, just this earth.
Yeah, okay.
So they will work it very nice, and they will use those big ones to stay teased for farmhands numbering more than 50. And a woman, or at most two, will stir that to good food. Prepare soup in two different ways. The slippery one and the granules one, where the animal will be used in preparing the granules one. So they will mix and then serve farmhands. These were things that happened on the farms. Today, how many people have links? How many people can have farmhands? We are too individualistic. The Northerner, by nature, was never individualistic. We have over-nucleated our families, and that is also another indictment on us. The fact is that we had everything in communality. If we are eating, your father is my father's brother. We ate together. And that link was there. Today, you don't have it. You have your family. I have my family. Meanwhile, we are of the same descent. Where are we going? We have disintegrated our families. And that is why we don't have family unity today. So, the culture of a people is our identity. We are fast losing our identity. And why should that be? We should go back. Go back and pick, except for those that are injurious to humankind. Those we can always discard. But we need to embrace all that is good. So, with this, we got the chiefs, they agreed, and last year, thankfully, we were able to have a cultural week. Though it was supposed to be done for a whole week, as a beginning, we did it for a day. And this year, I know thankfully, they are going to have a whole week.
Amazing.
The thing actually about some of these things is sponsorship up north. Up north here, we don't cherish our culture so much. Unlike down south.
Yeah.
One chief or one traditional ruler can take up
the cost
of everything. But here, you come, a number of traditional areas, they will not do it. But just come to think of it, you need to bring us something little. I need to bring us something little. We combine, it becomes something big.
Amazing. One of the things that you are very passionate about, where our brothers who are coming from the diaspora, I mean, are made to just remain in the coastal areas.
Very wrong.
What impression do you get? Is it that the stories are not being told to these people?
Exactly so. The stories are being distorted. They made these people to feel that, oh, the coast is all Ghana, only Ghana. They know, well, if you go to the castles, you see that some of them, the labels, if you enter there and you see the dungeons, and you see where they actually pass through, especially Cape Coast, you'll be very, very sorry. You'll be sad. You'll be sad. But I think that the story is not being told properly. The people are not being made to understand that they came from somewhere, were only housed somewhere before they were transported. Now, the people would have had the interest of trying to know, where do I come from? But the story is told differently. If they are made to know that most of their descent is from the north, most of them will want to come and see, to want to come and know, oh, so which route did they pass my ancestors through? Probably some of them may have been told by their forebears some traditional names, and these names would help them to trace where they come from.
Exactly, they come from.
Just as I was telling you the other day, even people who were taken from north and they go to the south, and by way of maybe marriage or some stronger people taking them to do work for them, they were also slaves in their own country. And I mentioned particular names to you the other day.
Yes.
I will not hesitate to mention the Honorable Hannah Bisu, who now knows that she comes from Dafiama.
Wow.
According to her, and she's not feeling shy to say these things.
So if I get what you are saying right,
yes,
when some of our brothers and mothers were taken from the north,
yes,
to the south,
some of them were intercepted.
Exactly. It wasn't all of them that went to the Americas for the trade. Some of them were intercepted within the country. And they resettled in the coastal and southern area.
Exactly.
Also gave birth to children. And
that is exactly the case of the Honorable Hannah Bisu I'm just talking about. I have not sought her permission to say, but I know that she will love it if she should hear this. The fact is that, according to her, according to the Femana, he has had contact with Honorable Hannah Bisu. And it was there he got to know that Hannah Bisu was able to mention some names. And they traced, and today they know the house from which she comes from in Dafiama. So it is gratifying. Her parents, her mother, was intercepted by one of the chiefs. I think she was a very beautiful woman. So the chief saw her and could not help. So he took that one and made her wife alongside other Akan women. So the woman was kind of being despised or being tagged as a donko. Donko means slave. So if she was tagged this way, and then the offsprings came, beautiful like that, and rose to such levels, this lady, when she heard those things, those stories from the mom and the grandmom, she managed to trace. And traced and got to where she comes from. So it is not only the diaspora, we still also have our kind down there Some of them are in Koforidua. Some of them are in Kumasi. Our Kumasi, plenty are there. And some are the coastal belts.
So, but
I met a lecturer at the University of Ghana. She told me she knows that she's from the north, but she doesn't know which part of the north she comes from. But she proudly comes out to say, she's a friend, she proudly comes out to say, yes, she knows that she's from the north. But the father was not able to
tell her,
to take her to where they come from. So people are interested in coming out to show where they come from, provided they can get the slightest information that will help them trace. So the issues are there. So with this, our brothers, our unfortunate brothers who were taken there, most of them became very powerful. Now they want to come home, but where are they going? So the only place they can remember is where they were housed, the castles and the forts. So that is why Cape Coast, Accra, and the coastal belt, they enjoy that monopoly. Sometimes we will not also blame them so much because they are unable to also say, we picked and so from this location.
That was what I wanted to ask. Is it also not the fact that we as Northerners, we are not really telling our stories for, I mean, the world to hear? Because when it comes to written literature and all of that, it's like we don't do much.
You see, the Northern must be blamed for whatever the situation is. If I have my story and you come to write my story and I see that you are not writing it well and I'm sitting there having nothing to do, it is my fault. I won't blame the one who has written the story. I'll blame myself. Because the fact is that I know where I come from, I know who I am, and I know what is happening. So if the story is told about me, then I need to correct it. If I correct it, then I'll be doing good to the person who wrote it and to myself.
As well.
And so if I don't, and I decide that, oh, let's sleep in that lie. We just leave it as it is. We are distorting our own stories. Now, we also have a lot of intellectuals from the north. Why are we not writing? Why are we not writing? We know we can write. Why are we not writing? It's sheer laziness, sheer foolishness, permit me to use the word, that we cannot write our own stories and allow somebody to come and write. We know the stories. Come. Let us have a new beginning. Our call on Northerners to come on board and let us have a new beginning. Write our own stories. Correct the mistakes, the existing mistakes that are there in people's manuscripts and people's writings. At least let them know that they have done a good job by putting these things in the limelight. But the correct version of this is this. So that if they can integrate it into their work, it becomes a beautiful piece of work. But not just to sit down and we are not doing what we're supposed to do. The slave story is a very sad one. These were family members that were actually being selected. In fact, the vibrant ones being selected out of families. So it's a painful story. So they who would one day come to take care of these families have been taken away, denying the weak people from enjoying what they should enjoy. And now they have gone. The stories we hear about the work they have done in the plantations, very sad stories. They have been able to survive these things and they have come back. Some of them have gone into marriage, the lucky ones, especially the women, and they produce children with the whites. And eventually, they've all become whites. And they have come. They want to know, why do you think they have come home? They have come to try to know where they come from. Why is it that we are denying them? Why are we denying them? We should tell our own story. We should now, Ghana as a whole, should make sure that when these slaves come, take them round. You can get some heritage caravans, take them round the whole country. I remember when I was in school in Tamale, Jimmy Cliff came on a visit. And at the Tamasco School Park, where the students all gathered, you know Tamale, it's education rich.
Yes.
So all the students were around,
Wow.
invited, and he spoke. He said, and I remember that he said, he looked at himself and knows that he comes from the north.
Wow.
This was the statement he made.
Wow. Wow.
That looking at himself, he realizes that as soon as he got to Tamale, he had some kind of aura around him, give him the feeling that
this is where he comes
this
from.
is where he comes from.
Wow. Wow.
Today, they themselves, they want to know where they come from, but they are unable to. It is not their fault. Because at the time they were being sold, we didn't have written documents. The people too did not, who took them away, did not script their names and their surnames. You know, we hear our names and surnames help
to tell where
we come from. So when they got there, they were only seen as slaves. And so today, let us make the story a good one. Let us take the people up north. We should not, when they come, we should not only allow them to be in Accra and the coastal areas and go back. Let them have the feel of the north, just as Jimmy Cliff had that aura. You see, tradition is such that as soon as you get to where you belong, you will have a kind of feeling. And that was the kind of feeling Jimmy Cliff had. So you could feel that this place must be where I come from.
Aside the many proofs.
Aside the many proofs. The slave markets are there. We don't have slave markets down there. So this is also evident that the people come from the north.
Only in the market we buy something.
In the market and we buy and transport. So if you don't buy them from the market, where else do you get them? And our fights with the slave raiders is also another proof that where do you hear that they have fought down there? They are interested in getting the money and then giving the people out. Now, here our people stood because it is their own vibrant people that they were taking away. So they were angry and annoyed, so they came out and faced the slave raiders. And I gave you the story of Sankana. Go to Bolga, a woman called Atampoka. When you come there, you will see.
I will definitely come.
You will see. Yes, you will see them. When they do the enactment, you will see it. We did it just last year at Nafak in Cape Coast. A woman led the war against the slave raiders in the Upper East region. And they fought and drove the raiders away.
Wow.
Go to this place.
But when we hear of, women's stories, we only hear
of Yaa Asantewaa. You only hear of Yaa Asantewaa because she was the only one that they have been able to document everything about her. But we have equally great women like Yaa Asantewaa, which we could hail and bring into the good books. Women actually fought. If you go to a place, there's this Fiok festival, if you've ever heard of it.
Yeah, I've heard it.
It is also in that direction. They fought. The people, the Bulsas, were warlike people. They were warriors. And they fought the slave raiders and defeated them. So that is the Fiok festival that they do every year. Wow. Last year I was there.
I'm sure next year I'll also be there.
Last year I was there to see it. And if you saw how they dressed, you could see that they were real warriors. They were strong and stood boot for boot against the slave raiders and finally defeated them.
Wow.
The same as this woman and at Sankana. Go to Gulu. They fought them. And in that fight, they saw that because these raiders mastered sophisticated weapons, they decided, you see that our people were very intelligent. They decided to build very thick walls where the bullet cannot penetrate. And they were using their bows and arrows. So they will shoot, then they will go below the wall, and the bullet will come and hit the wall and fall, or they will pass over.
Wow.
Then they get up and shoot.
Wow.
And on target. So these were things that are still evident that the people who have come from the diaspora are our own brothers.
Wow.
I am not against the writings of the early writers. I'm not against them. But I feel that if we have the opportunity, we should correct some of the mistakes that were made and to change the story for it not to be like the slaves are coming from the coast. No. Or our own brothers who have come from diaspora are from the coast. They are not from the coast. It was only a point of exit for them.
Is it a case that they were only looking for people from the north, or they also took some people from the coast, just for clarity?
For clarity, we haven't heard in any recording or from any book that the slaves were taken from the coast. Because one, permit me to say Ghanaians, we all know that if we are looking for strong and hard-working people, it was the north. It was the north. When you take a fisherman from the coast, what is he going to do on the plantation?
We were farmers.
We were farmers. And so we were noted for farming. And we were noted for our physical strength. And we were noted for our hard work as well. And we were preferred. So if they took one or two from the coast, maybe they were taking them maybe for cooks or other things for the people who will be doing the farming, but not for their hard work.
But you believe that majority of
I
them
believe that most of them are from the north and beyond, northern Ghana and beyond, Burkina, Mali, Volta regions, and then a bit of the Côte d'Ivoire.
Okay, so sir, going forward, what should we do as a people?
We should come out to tell our story. We should come out. Northerners should come out with good writings. We should not just sit down. At least we know we can write now. What are we waiting for? We should write. We should write and put things right.
Do you also think that because of the fact that as Northerners, we are not living any literature or any knowledge of the past?
It is very sad.
It's going to affect the younger generation.
It is obviously going to affect because one, if you have your own story and you don't even continue to tell it, you will forget it. You will even forget vital aspects of that story.
How much more your children?
How much more your children? So we should not only continue to rely on oral literature or oral tradition.
Yes.
We should document. Document. I believe in documentation. And I always wish that the Centers for National Culture in particular, if they were resourced to do a good kind of documentation, it will help this country. Realize that research is very, very vital here. Yet, the research departments of the centers, they lack the requisite materials to work with. Because one, the whole regional center doesn't even have a motorbike.
Wow.
So how will you go to a community
to see what
is happening and to document? You don't even have paper to write on. So if you don't have a good phone that you can go and then take pictures and then take recordings and come back to find a way of documenting it. How do you do it? How do you do it? So the centers for national culture are being widely underutilized in Ghana. We can do a lot. Why are we not being used? That is our work. Give us the resources to work, and we will see a lot of change. I sometimes I always sing this wherever I have the opportunity. Ghana, we have the tendency of paying lip service to our culture. Oh, we started with Malaysia, Singapore, Korea, where, and so what? And so what? They have used their culture to develop. How have we used ours to develop? Whenever I mention this, I become very sad and passionate. Let us give the Centers for National Culture and the chiefs the opportunity to bring back what has been lost. The chiefs have a lot. The centers have a lot. And we collaborate with the chiefs a lot. So give us this way, allow us to actually document things for posterity.
Wow.
If not, one day our own children will ask us, what have we left? What legacy have we left for them?
Wow. If not, one day our own children will ask us what legacy or what have we left for them. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Super glad. Unless you have something else to add.
Well, you are yet to come there. When you come,
when I come to our
we'll
place.
Talk more.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
I appreciate your passion and
You're welcome.
love for culture and
You're
tradition.
welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Thanks.